Good afternoon, Bears. Happy Monday. I hope everyone had a great weekend. Gonna jump right into this video as it might be a little bit longer because I have a few things to talk about today. First things first, we're gonna do some shout outs. We'll talk about the walkthrough data last week, which was not fantastic, and give a little bit of a PLC update. So, hopping right into that, shout out to Miss Delworth for the event that she held with her MedTech students, the Medical Technologies Pathway, her students. Um, did a great job of teaching CPR to our freshman seminar health classes. So I had a chance to stop by the gym and witness some of that, and it was really cool to see students teaching students. So great job, Ms. Dilworth, for putting that together, and for the freshman seminar health teachers for having their kids participate in that. Everyone did a great job. Also, want to give a quick shout out to Miss Valenzuela. She kind of has a thankless job being the instructional coach. I know that individual teachers often thank her, but I do want to give her a shout out. She's always recognizing other people, but Miss Valenzuela's impact since she's been back on campus has been noticeable, and we appreciate the work that you do, Selene. So keep up the great work. And I believe she shared some resources, from Think Tank last Thursday. So if you didn't get a chance to go, make sure you take a look at the stuff that she shared out with you guys. Um, Walkthrough data last week. We did 44 walkthroughs last week, and the data was not good. And I don't know that this is kind of an anomaly for us. We've had some weeks where we've been down a little bit, but I don't know what was going on last week, but or the last couple weeks, excuse me. But the data that was collected was definitely much lower than we want it to be, and then it should be if we're doing what we need to do in the classroom. So if you can see the different categories, only 36% of the time do we see or have confirmation of a learning target. The number of CFUs that were going on in the class was low at only 39%. When we were there at the end of the period, we only saw 11% of the time did we actually wrap up the activities with some sort of reflection or bringing the class back to check in and make sure they got out of the lesson we wanted them to get out of the lesson. DOK 2 plus was really low, 36%. That's definitely the lowest that we've had all year, including 8% of the time where students weren't really doing any sort of thinking, not even at a DOK 1, which should never happen in a class. And then that last category, only 61% of classrooms that we were in did we observe no cell phones, earbuds, or anything of that nature going on. So again, I don't know what the issue was last week or the last 2 weeks that we had, but just to put it bluntly, guys, I think we're better than this. So just collectively, please, as a group, make sure we're hitting the things that we need to hit with our kids in class. The expectations, we've been on them all year. We've been pretty clear about what we're expecting to see in the classrooms when we go in there, recognizing that there might be times when those things aren't happening in a short walkthrough. But as a collective, this information should never reflect what we're seeing across the 44 walkthroughs on the campus. So um, just okay, be intentional about your planning, please. I guess that's the easiest thing I can say is be intentional about your planning. Make sure you're hitting the mark with the kids. Make sure the kids are hitting the mark. Really, that's really what the most important thing is. And then as far as upholding this policy with cell phones, that's not an option. So please make sure you get that done in your classroom. Last week we had some good conversation and Wednesday collaboration. I was sitting at a table, as was everyone else, and I know at our table we had some pretty good conversation. And from what I understand, it was pretty good conversation across the gym for the most part. Some of the positives that were taken away from that, just people recognize the importance and the value of collaboration, which is encouraging. Common assessments, yes, they do help drive deeper learning, and that's hopefully everybody's eventually going to embrace that idea as we move forward with creating those both common, formative, and summative assessments. And the value in sharing information is a huge thing as well. We get stuck in our four walls, but the more we share, the better we're going to be. And this last one, which is a huge thing, and we'll get to this a little bit more in a second, but just the idea that collective efficacy, it really does lead to higher student achievement. Like I said, I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a second. Some of the challenges that came up, but yes, we do have just the issue of time. Finding the time to be collaborative. Our PLC meetings are only 35 minutes. Once a week. We don't. A lot of people don't have common preps. Like when are we supposed to do these things? There maybe we can use digital tools more, whatever it is, but finding the time and the way to collaborate the way we'd like to is definitely a challenge. Finding the balance between teacher autonomy and collective efficacy, those two things They don't have to be at odds, but that is still a discussion point that often comes up. Teachers don't feel like they need to be or want to be cookie cutter to be effective. And I'll reiterate right now, but that is not the hope for you. I don't want a bunch of cookie cutter teachers, but we should be sharing best practices and whatever practices or lessons or whatever it is that we feel we want to have the autonomy to teach should be backed up by data to prove that they are successful. And just the challenge of people not wanting to change, people wanting to remain status quo, even if status quo is not the best thing. And that's a mindset. That's a mind shift. That's a mindset issue. I know everybody knows that there are people that change at different rates and paces, and so that's something that we'll continue to work with as we work together as a staff, moving the direction we're moving. As I said, I was going to revisit this portion, just collective teacher efficacy, just kind of just a reminder of what that is, and that's just the belief that together we can impact student learning in a positive way. I know that there's a lot of factors going on right now with our kids, things that are completely out of our control. Hopefully, you guys have noticed by now that usually when we have these discussions, I want you guys to focus on the things that we can control. And one of the biggest things we can control is our belief and our attitude about our impact on students' ability to learn. And so, I firmly believe that yes, we individually we have a lot of good teachers on this campus, but collectively we can do amazing things. And so the sooner we buy into that and start to form our practices around joint team efforts, the better off we're going to be. And that belief, that efficacy needs to be backed up with effective practices that are verified by data. I don't know what easier way to say that is. We have to start showing and proving that the things that we do are actually working for our kids and resulting in learning. So moving forward this week, our collaborative team meetings on Wednesday. This week it will be a collaborative team meeting. So for those of you guys that have been around a while, that would be your subject level team meetings. Eric will be back on campus this week, working with our guiding coalition. That morning, Wednesday morning, we actually will be visiting some of the collaborative teams. He wants to see some of you guys in action. So we'll go out in teams of three. He'll be with one of the teams, and there will be another team of three administrators, just visiting some of your collaborative team meetings. Don't mind us if we pop in. Just keep doing what you're doing, and then we'll go from there. We'll kind of share feedback from what he sees out to the whole staff, so everybody's on the same page. So that's that, guys. I just wanted to make sure. To say a few things to you this week. I didn't send one out last week, so we will talk to you as the week goes on. I'll see you out there. Have a great week.